evening. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Natural Resource Board for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. If we could, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting's adjourned. Can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Ware?
Present.
Ms. Billman? Present. Mr. Brugan? Present. Mr. Kraus?
Here.
Mr. Stadelman?
Here.
Mr. Carano?
Here.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and everybody who's watching online. If we can have a motion for the approval of the minutes from October 1st.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of October 1st, 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody with a nay? The motion passes. Item number 5, announcements. Item A, the new dates for the Oyster Reef Ball deployment with Orca on November 15th, 16th, 17th, 2024. Felicia, do you have anything for that?
I'd just like to add that this, because it is an event run by the organization Orca themselves, they have their own volunteer sign up and waivers and specific time slots that they have. So if you are interested in participating, and there is no obligation to participate, but if you do choose to participate, please make sure you sign up with them so they know how many people are coming and that way you're registered and have your waiver signed for them. And to recap on the event, it is going to be some heavy lifting. The oyster reef balls themselves will each be about 50 pounds. So if you're comfortable with lifting that or being part of the assembly line to help move those down into the lagoon, then please do join us for that.
And do we sign up, do we register with them at the event, or do we have to go online?
There's a link, there's a QR code, and I believe the website is also listed on the flyer that you should have in your agenda packet. But if there's any questions about that, I can always send you the link.
Okay, so we need to go online, register, and be good people.
Yes.
We could be trashy people, remember, huh? Okay, well, it's Friday, November 15th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Saturday, November 16th, 7:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., then break for lunch, then 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., then Sunday, 7:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., and then again, 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So Friday is one shift, Saturday and Sunday, looks like they have 2 shifts. Please register with Orca, register online. Their phone number is 772-562-9052 or at teamorca.com.
.org.
I apologize, teamorca.org. Thank you for that. And that's all we have for announcements.
Charles, I do have a couple additional announcements.
Felicia, thank you.
To start off, I wanted to thank Dan and give him a nice warm welcome for returning. And he is now officially a full regular Natural Resources Board member. So.
Yay!
Yay.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. I really appreciate being here, and I thank you for some prayers and stuff because it was a long 5 months. When I first started here as an alternate and stuff, I had high ambitions of working because I do this for another county and stuff, and then things happened with my wife and stuff, and so they're all better. But I look forward to being here and helping out anybody, the board and with Felicia and stuff.
Well, thank you very much. We look forward to putting you to work.
Yeah, there you go.
It's Daniel Brugan?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for your service to Sebastian.
Thank you.
We all are here at the pleasure of the City Council, serving the city of Sebastian's environmental issues. Is there any more announcements?
There is one other announcement.
Okay.
Some of you may be familiar with Dr. Graham Cox. He had participated, I believe, in the Integrated Pest Management Program and was an active member in the community and some other local organizations. Unfortunately, we were recently informed of his passing.
Oh,
And
no.
I will be forwarding all of you an email that we received regarding his passing. If anyone has any questions or wants to talk, please, of course, reach out.
Well, he'll be sorely missed. He was very active in the community. He has been at this board many times. My condolences. Can you take it for a second?
Okay, item number 6, agenda modifications. Do we have any modifications to our agenda tonight? Anybody wishing to make a request for a modification? Hearing none. Number 7, public input. Is there anybody on Zoom that wishes to say something?
Nobody has their hand raised at this time.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 8, unfinished business. Item A, Sustainable Sebastian, development of the next action plan. Felicia, I assume we have something attached?
Yes, so in your agenda packet, there is a table containing the original 6 initiatives as laid out in the Sustainable Sebastian resolution. And based on the conversations that we had at the past several meetings, we have some outlined proposed goals for all of you to review. And these are our suggestions so far as to what's going to go on, what categories, what initiatives the goals that we had previously discussed will fall under. We can open the floor for discussion.
Hit the button.
Okay. Item 1, support the overall reduction in the use of single-use plastics by the city, business community, and assisting and promoting to keep Indian River beautiful. That was the CURB program, and Keep Brevard Beautiful Litter Quitter program. Surf riders, ocean-friendly restaurants, and programs through the identification of alternative products. Some of those they just fell by the wayside. The CURB isn't in business anymore. And I guess we probably should just take them off the list if they're not there.
So this is something that we have talked about in the past, right? That unfortunately Litter Quitter did dissolve, that KBB no longer practices Litter Quitter, and CURB is unfortunately not active. The way the initiative is written is the exact wording from the resolution itself. So in light of that, we can still adapt our goals and our tasks list to meet the needs of the fact that this doesn't exist anymore. So I know that was an interest of the board, possibly developing some sort of recognition program or utilizing another existing recognition program that may already be out there in order to kind of incentivize the use of alternatives to single-use plastics or the simple reduction of single-use plastics. So that is something that we can consider. We haven't, of course, like these goals don't really outline all the tasks that will go into the next version of Sustainable Sebastian, but that is something to keep in mind, that if there are instances like this where something has gone defunct, we can adapt. So it doesn't necessarily mean we're boxed in just because of the way the resolution is worded. So
Is there any chance of us just taking over the litter quitter program and we call it Sebastian's litter quitter, and we just take what they started and put our name on it?
If I recall, excuse me, if I recall, the biggest part of that is the website that was driving who is participating in this and at what levels and stuff. So we would have to have significant manpower from the city to develop that, or else we'd have to finance somebody from outside the city to help develop a website to do that program. I think that we should stick to the education part of it, and we can come up with things that aren't as complicated as the website. If we just make our goals, having public input, having training sessions here, because we already said it's difficult with the sunshine law for us to go out to the businesses in pairs. We have to do it alone, and it's kind of intimidating, especially to me anyway. But if we can have learning sessions here, workshops here, and invite the public, you know, those kind of things to support the same goals without having to do all the fancy stuff with the websites and stuff.
We can look into that going forward, right? What about the life cycle analysis for the business tax license?
you'll find that, I was going to say you'll find that, okay. So the life cycle analysis part, I didn't expressly state on this, but I do have, when you first said life cycle analysis, I apologize. I thought you were talking about the predictive
That's
analytics
okay.
thing.
We can circle back to that.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
My
I just
apologies.
it was just part of what we were doing for the sustainable, my part for the plastics. Is there anything else I should touch base on with that while we're there? No?
Unless someone has
Okay.
an additional proposed goal that they'd like to suggest that goes under that umbrella.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
If there's another proposed goal that somebody has in mind to go under the umbrella of that first initiative.
Does anybody have anything they want to add to number one?
Well, I already just said about having some type of educational workshop. That would be
Oh, anything
a
else?
goal.
Okay. We'll move on to number two. If you want to, who's champion our landscape program? Did you want to talk about that, Felicia? Number two?
More so if anybody has any particular comments on the proposed goals, what we've suggested to go under that, or if there's any expansion of that, if there's something that you'd like to see that wasn't expressly stated.
I have a question. What exactly is the Champion and Historic Tree Program?
So the Champion Tree Program, which I'm in the process of trying to find out what the time frame of the program was, when it started and when it ended, but the Champion Tree Program was a program that was conducted by the Natural Resources Board well before my time, and I think well before the time of anybody currently sitting on the board. This was to recognize homeowners who have maintained healthy, very, very large trees on their properties. So the idea was to possibly revive the Champion Tree Program as a possible recognition program for people who are maintaining healthy natural landscapes, and incorporating the concept of historic trees into that, because in our code we have a specific definition for what constitutes a historic tree. However, we don't have very many trees within the city designated. And those trees, ones that are considered historic, are officially ordained by council as so. So if, say, there's any trees that were recognized in the Champion Tree Program that are still existent, they may qualify in council's eyes as a potential historic tree.
Are there any historic trees in Sebastian?
The hardy oak at the Main Street boat ramp.
What's that?
The hardy oak at the Main Street boat ramp. That is
Okay.
the
Yeah,
only
I
one
was told of one, but I didn't know if there were any others.
Yeah, to my knowledge.
So we have one.
We have one.
Okay.
And we're also Tree City USA for 27 years, or how long we've been?
I'd have to double check on the exact number of years, but yes, fingers crossed, as long as the most recent application is approved by the Arbor Day Foundation, then we will still be a Tree City USA.
And that's probably been one of the most difficult things, being up here, seeing the trees being cut down like they have been. And it's actually been a sticking point to the people who live around me. And they're like, "Who are you, the tree guy?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." So, but if we can expand on that a little bit more, that would be great. Number 3, recommendations for city policies and codes related to natural resources. Does anybody have any comments on that?
That's just a lot harder than it appears to be. You know, again, if the lots were bigger, it'd be a lot easier. You know, to force people to keep trees that may fall on their houses, especially some of these trees, and they don't look to, when you leave, after a lot's been clear cut, some of those trees are scraggly and they just don't look healthy because they've been surrounded by trees and shrubs and everything else around them. I have a rough time telling somebody on a 85 by 125 foot lot that you not only do you need room for the house, you need room for the septic system, you need room to park. God forbid they put a pool in, that you have to have a tree that has a risk of falling on your house or your neighbor's house. It's difficult. You know, even just defining what a tree is not an easy thing. So that's something that certainly has to be revisited, and it's almost like, you know, we need a committee to make up what these definitions are that we can all live with.
I didn't think it was going to be so hard to define what a tree is.
Oh, it
Oh, it
is.
is. You know, 5 inches around, so tall. I'm like, oh, it looks like a
And
tree.
the other thing, if you think about it, there's a gap, because if you have somebody go clear cut a yard and get away with it, when they plant those sticks in the ground, well, they're no longer trees.
Right. And they've been.
And I don't want to pick out
popping
any houses, but when they plant them and they're 15 feet behind the house, you know those trees are not going to survive for any length of time, because the neighbor's going to want a deck, you know, some sort of, I should say a patio, not a deck, a patio or a swimming pool, and you know, guess what? They're coming down.
I do like seeing the predictive analytics, the machine learning in there. I think going forward, and I would recommend this to everybody, I wouldn't even make a decision without referring to some type of AI, some type of predictive analytical something. I use 2 of them sometimes, and between the 2 of them, they'll give you the right answer. And you can ask it anything, and it will tell you and give you all the backup information and everything. And going forward, it is where everything's going to be, just because people are fallible. They can make the wrong decisions without the right information, and machine learning and predictive analytics is the way to go. And public polls. Does anybody have any input on doing the public polls? I think that's a great idea.
That was one of my better ideas, let's put it that way. And I really do want to start the process of polling the public, especially to find out what they feel, what their opinions are, and make it an annual process. So that's one I'm going to want to work on this coming year.
Is there any other comments or questions on that? Okay, not seeing any. The next one, number 4, would be reducing the city's operational footprint by promoting sustainable energy resources through the implementation of sustainable technologies where practical. We voted on some of that of the last meeting with the cut vote, where we're getting rid of that. Reduce resource consumption by city operations, develop food waste reduction programs and workshops and educational opportunities for the public, which ties into what Donna was saying, and the public polling. I really like your idea about the food waste reduction program. That was, I think, going forward, that's really going to be something. There's a lot of food that could be, even at the very least, if it's reused instead of going, not reused because we can't really reuse it, but
Composted?
composted, thank you. And instead of just being thrown away, anything would be better than just, throwing literally half of what everybody uses out there gets thrown away. So we really look forward to that. Does anybody have any questions or input on number 4? All right, not seeing any. Number 5, protect and restore the water quality of all our city's water bodies by supporting the city's stormwater program and the creation of toolkits emphasizing best management practices, BMP, or low impact design, LID, and green infrastructure, or GI. Develop green infrastructure plan, workshops, again, and develop ecology-centered toolkits for developers and residents. And you can't get much better than that. It's, and again, it refers back to getting the public involved, right at the grassroots level, getting the people who are doing the work, the developers and such. And I'm sure going forward, we'll have to develop these workshops and develop the toolkits and things like that. The green infrastructure plan, we've actually been working on that, haven't we? And when Dr. Mosblick was here, I had started with that. I didn't get very far because it's all sidewalks, so I really, not a lot I could do with sidewalks, but we've been working on that. Do you have any input with any of that? Do you want to put in?
No, and actually, I think you might be confusing a couple different of the goals because you were on like trails and pathways and that
Yes.
sort of thing, not the green infrastructure stuff. But yeah, Dr. Mosblick really helped out with finishing the parks assessments, and there were a couple of them that before Dr. Mosblick started doing the parks assessments that had been done a couple years prior and needed to be revisited. So Mr. Mike Clifford, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, is going to help just kind of take another visit to some of those sites. And he and I have gone over what that entails, and we'll be working on those cut sheets. And I know Dr. Mosblick had offered her continued assistance if need be with the cut sheets for the green infrastructure plan. So that is ongoing still.
Is the city currently working on a stormwater plan?
There is a stormwater master plan currently in place. It was recently implemented.
The city recently approved a stormwater master plan, I want to say within the past 12 months. And there are certain goals and objectives to meet in that plan. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
And one of the things I really like seeing, because I watch the city council meetings, is when the developers are coming up and looking to get their subdivisions approved, the input from the city staff who's responsible for that is spot on. I mean, they really are holding these developers' feet to the fire. I guess that would be the way I'm looking, and really saying that this, they're not looking for these linear parks where they count a sidewalk as green space, and they're really keeping them for what the rules are. They're looking for a percentage of green space that's got to be there, and whatever else that we've really worked on over the years. They've been really trying to keep them to do it. So it's been really great to see. Does anybody else have any input on item 5? Not seeing any. Item 6 is promote the city's overall livability through the promotion of active transportation, increasing connectivity among trails and pathways, and promoting nature-based tourism. We're looking to increase marketing of the city's parks and green spaces, educational programs for noise pollution, and educational programs for light pollution. And would anybody like to comment on any of that?
So I'll just mention briefly, I recommended taking a look at noise pollution and light pollution, and it is just a starting point, okay? Just a baseline kind of information. So I'm not thinking like we have to go whole hog. I'm just thinking like, well, let's take a look at it and and see what the public feels and that kind of thing. Okay?
Well, you're really on to something there, because as more people move in, and you got to remember, I've lived here since the early 70s, and it went from, you might have heard a lawnmower or seen a big truck go by every once in a while, but I do not have a quiet day now. And I've been really thinking about it for a couple of years now. I can't sit out in my front yard and just have one full day without something blasting away. And it is just what it is, because where I used to have no neighbors, now every lot around me is built on, and everybody's mowing their grass, or everybody has a big truck coming to deliver something, let alone the equipment that it takes to clear all these lots. So that's really important. The light pollution really refers to probably some of the large parks that we have. When they turn on that soccer field, even though it's not in Sebastian, everybody can look south and know that they're playing soccer today because it's lit up, and it's like, whoa, it's like a small airport. And that's just one thing that I see because I'm not too far away from it. But the baseball field's the same thing. And a lot of that can be really addressed simply by putting on different equipment on the lights. Instead of just having a one big bright light that just shines light everywhere, maybe you could shade that light to where it just shines light down, or something like that. But it only not affects the people here, but the wildlife as well. A lot of this wildlife is sensitive to, is it nighttime or not? So when we're doing these things, it's not just, it's benefiting the people that live here, but also the wildlife and everything else that goes along with that. And I think that brings us to the end, unless I'm missing something, of our Sustainable Sebastian proposed goals for the next 5-year action plan. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I have nothing further to add. If you'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed goals, and then from here we would move forward with developing the tasks that would go under each.
Okay,
Can
we?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You got something to add?
I'm a little slow on some of these things. It takes me a while just to think this through. Can I just briefly go back to the Champion and Historic Tree Program?
Okay, what's your question?
I just had a question. So in the entire community of Sebastian, there's only one champion tree. Is that?
There's only one historic tree, and the historic trees are specifically, I think by resolution, designated by city council as being historic trees. And those trees come with their own special set of rules about care and maintenance and whether or not they can be removed. The champion trees were just a recognition program that the Natural Resources Board used to have, and there is the possibility of kind of expanding upon what that program used to be while also tapping into the historic tree concept.
The state of Florida has an active champion tree program, and the only reason I even know I don't really know it much about it, but that I think it was the General Sherman tree over that big giant cypress tree. This thing has been here for thousands of years, and it got burnt down. And it was, so that's how I recognize just that term. Not that I'm really an expert on it, but we're looking for large trees that have been here for a long time and give recognition to the people who are protecting them.
Okay, so I guess my question was this. I am sympathetic to homeowners who have small lots. I really am. You know, if you got, like you say, an 85-foot lot, and you got to put the house, and then you got the septic system and parking, there is no room really for very large trees. But there are parks and there are public lands. So have they ever been surveyed? I mean, in other words, we have parks. Are there any historic trees in those parks or in any public lands that are in Sebastian? Have they ever been surveyed? Somebody go through and, oh, that's a pretty big tree right there. Or
I can't speak to the past for the city of Sebastian, but I can say that we have been in discussion with Richard Blankenship, our Parks and Recreation Director, and he's been looking into the possibility of a tree canopy survey. So that is something that is possible for the
Okay.
coming future.
All right. And then the second question was, you brought up the developers. And do the developers, when they come in to the city council, is that a part of their presentation? There are, we're going to clear this lot, we're going to build a public, a home, et cetera. Do they ask them about trees that are on the lot? I mean, is that part of it?
Yeah.
So typically, when we have a pre-application meeting before somebody wants to develop a piece of land, trees and land clearing is one of the things that we talk about straight away. So that's one of the first conversations that we have. Basically, hi, nice to meet you, and but that is definitely on the forefront of staff to continue.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Is
I
there any
appreciate it.
further discussion on this?
Charles, could I jump in here for a
Yes,
moment?
Ms.
Um,
Philbin.
I still have a problem with us being a tree city, and it doesn't look like we're gaining any trees, really. There's more being taken out and nothing's being replenished. And I still am an advocate of putting more larger trees. And I know a lot of this has to do with county and the DOT and all that stuff. And along US 1, Schumann, I think, is a good example of years ago, and they planted down the medium strip. They planted the oaks and they put other things in there. But to me, nothing says more of a Florida tree than an oak tree. The shade, they're absolutely stunning. And it also amazes me that these large trees can actually live, and I'm sure you've all driven down Schumann, and if you look at those trees, the medium strip can't be more than 8 feet wide, but they've adapted to that space, so their roots aren't busting out at the curbs. I don't think that there's really a problem with like trimming the trees, because I've noticed over many, many years of just driving down streets that have larger trees, there's something about traffic just sort of stops the trees from overgrowing. If there's continual traffic going down the street, it sort of stops them from getting in the way and hitting trucks and stuff like that. But I wonder if there's some sort of thing that we can do to sort of promote putting in larger trees in certain areas in the city that will get bigger and can be champion trees or can be historical trees, or to be something to kind of make an impact on what our community looks like as you're driving in down 512. It's just this long, skinny, naked center divide. And I think a lot of that too has to do with drainage and so forth, but it's like, instead of having the canal going down the middle, I mean, could we plant trees down the middle and have some sort of drainage or whatever where it's coming down the side? I mean, to be a tree city, I think we need to be more of an advocate of putting back what we've been taking away. And I just really feel that it just blows me that we get that recognition. I don't understand it. I really don't.
Well, going forward, if this would help you, part of number 2 is looking for the native landscaping on city-owned property. So for the next 5 years, you'll be able to actually address that yourself. And number 3, we're going to update the tree protection and landscaping ordinances. We changed the Sustainable Sebastian guideline and plan to actually do exactly what you're saying. The Tree City USA would take a little while to explain it in, why we are that and everything else. Do you want to talk about that?
I can speak a little bit to the Tree City USA program. So I apologize, I don't remember all of the, there's 4 tenants that you have to meet per the Arbor Day Foundation's requirements to be considered a Tree City USA, and I can certainly send you that so you have a frame of reference of what that is. But as long as you meet those 4 tenants, then they will deem you a Tree City USA. Now, there is also a component called the Growth Award, which is separate from the standard Tree City USA application. Unfortunately, the past couple of years, I had not felt that we qualified for the Growth Award, so I wasn't able to apply for it. But if if we do expand upon tree plantings and native landscaping on city properties, then we may be able to qualify. And there are other things besides just tree planting that could qualify you for the growth award. So there are other, and there's actually, I would say there's probably hundreds of different avenues to travel down to possibly achieve the goal, the growth award. I think the minimum, they do it by a point system, and I believe the minimum points is 10 points, and as long as you achieve 10 points based on their whatever goals you choose, then you're eligible.
And part of what we do at Earth Day actually comes into that designation. When we're recognizing Arbor Day, that is one of the things that we have to do. And we try to talk about Arbor Day, or the guy up on the stage tries to talk about Arbor Day a lot. Is there any additional discussion on Sustainable Sebastian? Okay, not hearing any. I'd like to make a motion to pass the Sustainable Sebastian goals for the next 5 years as written here. I'll need a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Donna. Can I have a yay for approval?
Yay.
Are there any nays? Okay, not seeing any. The Sustainable Sebastian initiative for City of Sebastian passes unanimously to move it on for the next 5 years. This is basically our marching orders, guys. This is what we're going to be doing. Okay, we will move on to, that is item A. We'll move on to item B, the City of Sebastian Christmas Parade. Yay! Will be Saturday, December 7th, 2024. Felicia, do you want to elaborate?
Sure. So in your agenda packet, you have a list of tentative plans for the Christmas parade, as outlined from the previous meeting notes. If there's any concerns or any questions on what's included here, now's the time to discuss.
I think the only thing I don't see here is the seed packets.
Does the board want to purchase seeds to, the packets themselves to create seed packets once more?
Felicia, just to jump in here, I was really disappointed that I didn't get any feedback. I mean, I did get feedback on the decals and the stickers from FWC, but I don't know if we can count on them coming, because it's, they said they were having shipping problems, and I don't know what that means. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get those. Initially, when I talked to them, 2 months ago, it sounded like no problem, we'd be happy to get them, but it's not happening. So I don't know that we can, I just don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. So I think that we should go ahead and do the seeds as a backup.
All right, yeah, and it's not on here either, so thank you for pointing that out. Executive summary, we appreciate that. Per previous NRB meeting, no more than $200 spent on costumes and giveaways and supplies is needed for the parade. Ms. Billman is in contact with FWC, which she just spoke about. Carter, the mascot for the county's recycling programs, may be available to join us in the parade. We need to confirm that.
Yeah, I will confirm that. She said that she would definitely get somebody. So I'm like 99% sure. So
Okay, excellent, good. I really am really digging your idea about getting some action up on our floats. So I think that's really been a great idea. Charles Stadelman is putting together the abominable plastic man costume for the event, and I've got the base of it. So I just needed to know if you wanted it to look more like the abominable hairy snowman, or if we were going to put recyclable plastics, plastic bags, plastic cups, and we're going to just glue them, fasten them on, and I'll be scary.
I've seen in other projects, because I do science fair judging, that if you get a big clear plastic bag and you fill it with the other plastic stuff, then you can just tie it around your neck.
Okay.
So they can see all these other plastic things. It'll give you a
Okay.
body.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
okay?
great idea.
So you don't have to like individually glue things
Oh, I love
onto
it. Okay, so just fill up a clear plastic bag and put it around. Because what I did was I already went ahead and got one of the plastic hazmat suits with the hood. So that could be, yeah. And underneath, I started cutting up white plastic bags to make it look like hair, but I'm like, well, before we do this, let's talk about it. Right, yeah, get it all on me. I already got a big thing. Okay, we know about
I
that.
think we have to address the other costumes, because I think they were under $20 a piece. So, but
Okay,
we
so
have to have a volunteer to wear them.
you need to be a butterfly. We already got our butterfly, and we need someone to be a sunflower.
I was thinking you. Yes.
There you go. Yeah, 'cause I
Sure.
don't, you know, somebody really large would make a very good
Wait,
sunflower.
I'm going to be a witch.
A Christmas witch.
Yes.
All
I'm
right.
going to be a
Felicia?
witch.
We're gonna have
So-
the scariest Christmas float ever.
So on the parade, what we did last year is Felicia and I walked it. So if we're wearing the costumes, we would be walking and handing out the
Well,
things.
yours is just a cape. The butterfly's just a cape, so
Okay.
it's not going to inhibit you.
All right.
And
Well-
the other sunflower is,
It's just a ring around the
it's
head.
really around her face. It's not going to be her body. Your body, you're just dressing green. You'll be,
And then I'll just have a
Be fine.
plastic stuff all over me. So
Yeah.
that'll be great. It's gonna be fun. You know. I think it
so,
was a great idea.
so do we need a motion to approve this, that we're going to buy these two costumes?
I think it was
'Cause they're
already.
in
I
that
think it was
200
already
thing.
approved.
And
It's already been approved.
well, we need to order them, though. We're only 3 weeks from the parade.
I can go ahead and order them after.
Thank you.
And-
And the seeds, are we
Yeah,
going
we
to
need
go
to
ahead
get
with
the
that?
seeds ordered, and I can do the stamping, because usually I can't come during the week for the stuffing. So if you get the packets, I mean, the envelopes and the stamper that works, I can do the stamping. Okay.
And then if you want to make a day for a workshop, just send out an email to everybody like we
Yeah,
did last
and
year.
we're getting close, because the week before
Yeah.
that is Thanksgiving.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll have to be like the week of the parade that we're stuffing the seeds. So if we have to expedite the seeds.
It may, if we can't get the whole team together for a work day, then maybe it would be best to have maybe Sharada and maybe somebody else just take the packets for stamping, or one
Yeah.
person can do the stamping, someone else can do the filling,
Mm-hmm.
whatever works best.
Yeah.
We can make
Excellent.
certainly make those arrangements.
That's fine.
But we need them.
Yeah, we need them pronto.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So we have a sense of urgency on costumes, seed packets, stamping, and I'll try to
seeds,
send
yeah.
out a picture of the abominable plastic man. Okay, is there any other discussion we need for item B, City of Sebastian Christmas Parade for Saturday, December 7th, 2024?
What time do we need to be there?
That's a wonderful question. I believe the parade begins at 6 p.m. I will get you those exact times, but we'd probably be, if we're going to set up the float beforehand, we'll need to meet around 3 or 4 beforehand, and we'll get you all that information
Okay.
before the day of.
Okay, so we're looking at on December 7th. Obviously, we'll probably do something before then for the workshops, but for us as a team to get the float going, we want to be ready by 3 o'clock, 3, 4 o'clock, say, and we'll figure it out within the next week or so. Is that good with everybody?
Yes,
Okay.
I just want to ask another question about the last couple of years since I've been involved. Anyway, we've gotten plants to put on, they're on loan, so they don't cost anything. So, but I have to go talk to them if we're going to put plants on there as
What
well.
was the name of that company?
A tree for me, it's right
A
next.
Tree for Me.
Right across
And
the
I know it's right across the street, right? I just want to put his name out there because they have been very supportive of us for, for as long as I've been here now. This is
So do we
7.
all agree that we're going to put shrubs up there too? I mean, we need space for our costumes too, and Carter is big,
right.
so
The
we
abominable
won't need as many.
snowman's not that big.
We won't need as many bushes, shrubs, whatever, but do you want me to go over there?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's set it up like we did with all the lights, trees. That looked real nice.
Okay.
And you got the trailer and the truck set up. Did we want music on it this year?
You can
I
do
don't-
it.
I actually went ahead and got a PA system.
There you go.
So we can set it up if we just have to coordinate it and everything. And but yes, I can bring a PA system and hook it all up, and we can have very loud Christmas music.
Can you send me the specs on your PA system so I can determine it, and make sure that we can hook it up and have power on the float? if
Yeah,
that's
we
possible.
can hook it up. We just got to make sure we got power. We got to be
Right,
able
right,
to
so-
plug it into the truck.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure I know exactly what you've got that you're going to be bringing
all
onto it.
all
So
it
that
is
way,
is a DJ deck, and I could do 2 or 3 speakers and the computer to run the music. And I've got everything, and I even got a microphone. I guess we could talk to people on it with it too. So it's we just have to be careful. It's all sitting down so it doesn't flop out or get bumped up or anything. So maybe when we get to the other end, because we like to zippy on back, we can secure it. But yeah, I just have to plan it and make sure coordinate it. But if you're looking for music, I can do my best to get it there. And again, it's like everything else. Something may come up, so everybody needs to remember that. And we're doing our best. We are volunteers, and just got to remember that going forward. And that's kind of helped me out with everything that we do. It's a volunteer thing. Okay, good. I'll work on getting the music.
I can offer a generator if you need a generator for powering and
If it's a
stuff.
small one, like we would need just one of the little 2,000 watt generators. If it was just one of the little handheld ones.
I don't have a handheld, but
Yeah, because
yeah,
the
okay.
roll-on ones would be a little bigger than what we need. Even a solar-powered generator would be nice if the batteries were fully charged. Because all it is powering a couple of speakers. But if we can plug it into the truck, which we do with the lights anyhow, we usually plug those right in. We do it with a strip, and we should be fine.
Okay. I do have another question, though.
Yes,
with
sir.
the FWC or DEP for the stickers and the tattoos, is that just they're not returning phone calls and stuff
No,
like?
she's responded to me several times when I've inquired, and she just said they're having a problem with shipping. So I don't know if they're not getting them, or if it's an internal thing, they can't ship them out. I don't know. It sounded great. I
Probably
was all
their
excited about
supplier.
it.
It's probably their supplier that's the
That's what I'm
problem.
thinking, yeah.
Coming from China, probably.
What about when we thought about not throwing any candy off of the floats? Because that seems to be the number one issue everybody has after the parade, is finding all the candy and candy whatever afterwards. But what I noticed was people just take handfuls of whatever, and we walk it and hand it out.
I know, but who goes back after the parade to pick it up?
No one.
That's what I mean. So,
And the city actually has been coming behind us, but I think there would be a lot less debris or leftover candies on the floor, on the ground, if the floats behind us were also handing it out, because they do it just like they've done it since I was a kid.
yeah.
It's just, here, kids, have some candy.
So I guess what you're asking is, can we make a demand that they don't throw the candy? We can make a suggestion. I don't think we can demand people.
Right, and so I'll have a conversation with our Parks and Recreation Director in regards to that and see what that looks like and follow up with you on the December 3rd meeting.
I think we can actually say no throwing if it came down to that, because there's certain rules. I don't want to really get into it, but they're basically projectiles as well. If you really want to really get into it.
But technically, it's littering.
And it's littering.
Well-
There's a couple of different things there that if we really, really had to.
Yeah, but we can start with the nice version.
Yeah, we can be nice. Say, please don't throw. But that was one of the
Can
things that I was bringing up.
suggest when they sign up to be in the parade, we can say the city's, the Natural Resource Board strongly suggests that you do
There.
not throw your candy because it's a litter problem.
I like strongly suggest, and if it works, it works.
Can I make another, just a comment here?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not like the Macy's Day Parade where they have the ticker tape and everything coming down, and it's just part of a cleanup.
Yeah.
That's the
just
other
Just
thing.
a little, here, piece of candy for that one child.
But anyway,
Or Charles is over there with his large bag.
just put it in Charles's belly.
Because I get a lot of candy after this parade.
Mhm.
And we need a little bit more candy than what we bring because we seem to run out. This is like the third year we just run out before we get 3/4 of the way down.
Are you saying you want to purchase candy?
Well, didn't we
I-
bring candy last year? But we handed out.
Yeah. And I suppose I apologize. I was under the impression that the board didn't want to do candy
No,
and was
we were
looking
gonna
for-
do the tattoos. but
Right,
If we don't
right.
have the tattoos, we need a
So
backup plan.
You would like to do candy as a backup if we cannot?
Sure. If we can get paper wrapped candy, would be nice. Something that has something like that. Because again, the pet peeves of everybody up here, and which should be the whole city, is a plastic wrapped candy ending up on the ground and just being litter instead of an enjoyable side product of the parade. So if we can find a candy out there that has a paper wrapping or
Got
something
lollipops,
that's
there's
what?
lollipops.
Wax paper.
Yeah, and,
Tootsie Rolls are wax paper, aren't they?
uh-huh,
Yeah.
how about we
and
do,
something along those lines? And and whatever's good that we can really say, hey, look, we tried our best not to put any more plastic into the lagoon, or anything like that. Are there any other questions on the Christmas parade?
Just one quick comment.
One more?
I-
Okay.
If we're going to do the candy, then maybe if we have wrappers on them, do something that you can see. It's like going to be white or something, not the clear cellophane kind of
Right.
stuff. You know what I mean? So this,
Yeah,
if you
paper
see
wrap.
it, you can actually pick it up. But if it's going to be like a clear plastic kind of thing, like on a lollipop sometimes have those clear.
Right. Well, that's cellophane
Wrappers, yeah,
plastic.
yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to get away from that.
Exactly. So just as if you're out looking, and I don't know if Felicia's going to do that or not, but just that would be easier to pick things up that you can see.
Try to find something, I'm sure.
Yeah,
We've been pretty good about it for the last few
those
years.
dum-dum lollipops, they're,
Yeah,
you
we
can
had
see them.
Tootsie Rolls at my house,
But
and they all had.
there's a stick on
plastic
those
wrap.
and the wrapper. I know, but maybe, like I say, the Tootsie Rolls or something. But anyway,
Yep.
yeah.
You'll be okay with that, right, Felicia?
Yeah, I mean, I can go and acquire the candy, so that's no problem.
We could do that barrel candy where it's just unwrapped in the barrel, right? Huh?
Stick your hand in, grab a
Right,
handful,
old
and next
school.
person.
It is the centennial. We'll go old school. Okay, is there any other questions on the Christmas parade?
I wanna know who's gonna be there on the team here.
On the what?
On the team, who's gonna be participating in the parade?
Okay. I'll be there.
I will not be there.
Okay, that's a good question, I guess.
I believe I will be there.
Okay,
How about you, Dan?
Is it on the 7th?
it's on the 7th?
I think I have to be in.
Okay,
Okay, that was a
So-
good question.
Is that a Saturday?
the Saturday.
I may be able to. I was asking if it was on the 7th, if it was a Saturday and stuff, because I think I have a date with my wife.
Okay.
That
yeah.
comes first. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5, that's good. And Carter.
And 3 of them will be in costumes. I'll be the abominable bag man. Okay, any additional questions on the Christmas parade, which is going to be held Saturday, December 7th? We're going to show up as a team about 3 or 4 o'clock. We'll decide that between now and then. And we're going to try to have music this year. So, any other questions? Not hearing any. We'll move on to item 9, new business. It is our centennial year. Sebastian has been Sebastian for 100 years now. And the centennial celebration will be Sunday, December 8th, so it'll be on the next day. I understand that they're also having a parade with the Clydesdales will be here, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And fireworks, right? So we're going to have, it's going to be a great weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Do you want to elaborate on the centennial celebration?
Sure. So, I mean, you kind of did a pretty decent summary of it. So there will be the Clydesdale Parade earlier in the day, leading up to the main event in the park, which will be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that'll be all sorts of vendors. You might see some familiar faces from the Earth Day and Arbor Day celebration. Some of those folks might be there. There's actually going to be a kids zone, and there's going to be Teddy Roosevelt showing in the park, and there'll be all sorts of activities that day. The Natural Resources Board has been invited to attend if you all are interested in having a booth that day. Being that it is the day after the Christmas parade, I can understand that it's quite a lot of volunteering for one weekend, so it is up to you if you would like to attend. But if you do choose to participate, then I will go ahead and put in an application for.
When Felicia says participate, I'm sure she's talking about our tent, our table, everything like we do at the last event that we were at, where we had the tents, tables, and everything else.
It would really be one tent, one table, or maybe two tables and a few chairs for everyone
And
to
our
hang out.
covers
And
that
it would
say
be
Natural
just an
Resource Board.
opportunity for outreach for the Natural Resources Board. If there's any particular outreach materials you'd like to bring, we can always certainly work that out. And this just be another good opportunity for you to engage with the public.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Does the board have any interest in coming? I would like to be there because it's our last thing. It's very important to the city, but obviously we're a team here.
Well, my concern is how long it's going to be. And to ask someone to be there all day long, and I don't think we really need to have like 2 or 3 people manning the booth, all day long. It could be just say maybe 1 or 2 people and have like little shifts where we could come
Absolutely.
in and
You
kind
can do it in shifts. It's going to have to be done in shifts because we're going to be tired. And I hate telling everybody I'm a little older now, but I am. I can feel it.
So-
And any other discussions on that before we really take a vote on it?
So we would obviously need someone to set it up. And that's going to be like at 7 o'clock in the morning till,
Are we able to get any staff to help with any of this?
Sorry, can you repeat your question, Charles?
Like with setting up the tent and the tables, like are we going to have Bub and his friends there?
Yes, I'm sure Bub will be working the event generally, but we may be able to request his assistance with
Okay.
at least providing one tent and table.
And he doesn't really like us touching the tents, to let everybody know. I made a mistake last year and I learned my lesson. So so really we'll help as much as we can, but it should be pretty much set up other than us putting the wraps on. The tent should be set up, the tables will be set up, and we will have to be there in shifts unless somebody, whoever wants to stay there can. And we'll have limited assistance from the city, because obviously you'll be there, right? Okay.
If you will be there, then I will have to be there.
And I hope you won't be there by yourself. Well, team, let's take a vote on it.
well, first of all, how many people do?
Any questions?
I have to tell you that the art club's going to be in a tent that day too, because it's the last time that we're
So
doing
you're
this.
not available.
So I'm going to be pretty
Yeah.
tied up with that.
Well, you can come over.
I can come over and say hello, but I can't sit there for 2 or 3 hours.
All right. Well, any other questions?
And Charles, just to let you know, the reason I can't make it, I'm out of the country that day.
Oh, that's good. I'll have to save that excuse for next year. I'm
I
out
think
of the country.
I don't necessarily see that we'd have to be there until 10 o'clock either. I think really, I mean, if we're there for the majority of the day, I don't think we have to be there till 10 o'clock at night.
I'm sorry, 10? I think vendor pack-up is around 6 PM when the,
Oh,
the main
okay.
park event, and so no,
Oh,
no,
it's
no.
10 in the
It won't be
all
a
right, I was
12-hour
gonna say
event.
6
So we don't
but
have to
still.
stay for the fireworks.
You can stay if you'd like, but I don't think the vendors are required to stay through the fireworks.
And so we're gonna set up early, we're gonna take down probably about nightfall,
Well, that'll
We're
be
gonna try
5
to come
o'clock.
in and
That'll be
out.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
5 o'clock, right around there. I'm sure the vendors will wanna get out before it gets dark. And that's our goal. And it's the last hurrah for this centennial celebration. Okay, we know who's not gonna be there. We can still vote on it though.
I just want to mention, I doubt I'll be able to participate.
See, I don't think we have enough staff myself. I really don't.
I,
To have
Okay.
someone there, to have someone come get it set up and then to tear it down and to man it for 8 hours roughly.
Well, I volunteer, since I'm going to be there, I'll put out
And
the
she's-
information
yeah.
on a table so you guys don't have to be there, since I'm going to be there anyway. So,
What would you like to do, Felicia?
What would I like? I'm happy to do whatever the board wants to do.
I'll be able to come for a couple hours. I'll be traveling in the morning, coming back home and stuff, but I should be able to come after that, in the afternoon.
Well, don't we have, another board member and an alternate that's not here? Is that it?
yeah.
Michael Kraus couldn't, or, oh my goodness, I'm combining Mr. Kraus and Mr. Clifford, but Mike Clifford couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately, so.
Well,
Yeah,
we
we're
volunteer
missing his
Mike
input.
Clifford to be there all day.
My-
I'm teasing.
So my suggestion would be, we need to find out, again, how many hours staffing, and then maybe Felicia in the next, whenever you have time to say, well, this is, we'd like to participate, and these are the time slots that we need to fill, what can you do? So that we know what our options are as far as like manning the booth, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Well, we got 4 that are gonna be here. One,
Yep.
2, 3, 4, and a possibility of a 5th with Mr. Clifford, and a possibility of any other city staff who may show up. So we got 4 for sure, maybe a 5, maybe a 6 if other city staff.
But we need a
show up.
schedule,
I-
is what I'm saying.
I will be there that day as well, all day.
Okay,
So,
all right, so we definitely got 4 or 5.
So
You guys
can-
wanna do it?
we can get a
So
schedule.
I'm good in
figured.
the afternoon, say after 1.
Well, let's
Okay.
take a vote on it. Let's, this way we get our team on board. Are you good with it, Felicia, if we go ahead and do it?
Can we kind of go over who has, I know we've said a couple people will or will not be there, can we just, who will be there, so I understand? And then also, yeah, I think that would be helpful, is what I'm looking for.
Okay,
I'll
so-
be there.
So I am available,
Sharita
say
will be
from
there.
1 to 5.
I'm
Okay.
available.
So we got 3 board members up
And-
here.
After what
Mr.
time?
Bergen will be there.
And I can help tear, I can
Whenever we
help
leave the hospital
down.
and stuff.
So I can do the
I don't know what.
I
1 to
volunteer
5
Mr. Clifford
and
again.
tear down, okay?
Afternoon.
Boy, I bet she wishes he had attended this meeting now, huh? And do you feel comfortable with that many people?
So we have, Mr. Bergen, you can be there possibly later in the day, Sherida later in the day,
I can be there in the morning.
you can be there in the morning.
I'll just camp out. Right? We'll go
You can
from.
even still stay in
And
your
once I
outfit.
get everything
Right.
set up
I'll
in
s-
my tent, I could probably do like an hour here and then go back to the tent and then come back and do
Yes.
another hour. I can
Right,
be a
roll me up.
filler,
As long as it's in a
kind of.
recycling bin.
That would be cute. Actually,
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. You guys can just roll me around.
It's a guy in a costume. It's not an actual bin.
This is getting better by the moment. I can see why I signed on to this board. Okay, well, it's just an informal vote. It sounds like that we want to do it if we can. And is the rest of the team on board with it? Even though you may not be here, you'll probably still be asked to do what you can between now and then. Maybe some type of logistical something, oat something.
You know, stuffed seed packets.
Yeah, between now and then. Okay, so I guess we'll do the centennial
It's an action
celebration.
item. Charles, we have to take a vote.
Okay, let's take a vote. For the centennial celebration on the 8th of December,
Make a motion.
do we have a motion first?
I'll make a motion for the Natural Resource Board to attend the centennial celebration on Sunday, December 8th, 2024.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second? Donna? Donna. Ms.
Sheridan.
Billman, Sharita, sorry. And can we have a yay for an approval for this?
Yay.
Okay.
Any nays? Okay, we're on board. And again, remember, it is a volunteer event. At the very end, you know, we don't want anybody to get hurt or to really, if something does come up and you can't do it for whatever reason, don't feel that it's the end of the world. It is, we're just doing what we can do, and we're already going to be hard pressed with the parade and stretched a little thin already. So, you know, pace yourselves. And it should be a lot of fun, though. It should be great, and we're going to get a chance to get some information out to the public and really let people know that the Natural Resource Board is here for Sebastian. Okay, I think that is the centennial celebration. That is an action item. Thank you. Appreciate that. No more discussion on that. Well, we talked about item I, Sustainable Sebastian, the development of the next items for the agenda date, Tuesday, December 3rd. Oh, so we're actually going to sneak in another meeting before all this. Okay, that's not so bad. You know, maybe even at that meeting, we can do a little bit of the work that we need to do. And with the seed packets and things
You
like
mean
that.
before the meeting? Before
Or even for the meeting. We don't have to actually just sit up here the whole time and discussing things. We can do whatever we want to do, actually. And so if it comes down to it, because that's going to be kind of like the crunch week anyhow.
Yeah.
So if we're all, if it looks like that's what could happen, we could do that. Just send us out an email and say, hey, look, can you come a half hour early? Everybody will be here. So, so items for the next agenda, we're looking at, get to that page. Number 10, items for the next agenda and date, Tuesday, December 3rd. The first thing will be Sustainable Sebastian, development of the next action plan, which we just voted on. So.
Excuse me, Charles, can we put that off to the following month? I think we're going to be real busy on that Tuesday.
Will there be a lot we have to do then? Or should we just talk about it briefly and then move on?
I think we should just push it to the following month and worry about the weekend.
Focus on the Christmas
Yes.
parade and the weekend.
Can I just make a suggestion too, that since we now have the 5 things, everybody should think about which ones they want to support. So if anything, come to the meeting with 1 or 2 choices of what you think you want to do with under those 5 different
Would
goals.
that be okay?
Yes.
All right, so we'll still keep Sustainable Sebastian on the agenda, but we're just going to pick who's going to be the champions of what. So we can go through that real quick without any discussion. So everybody look at what they want to. I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. So I'm already done. and so everybody else figure out what they want to be a champion of, and we'll go right through that. Any other discussion on item I or item 1? Item 2, the Christmas parade planning. We'll be deep into that, obviously, like we have been. The discussion will probably tighten up real good. I'll come in with the costume so we can really get a good look at that. And thank you. And any discussion on item 2, Christmas parade planning? Not hearing any. Item 3, centennial celebration preparations, which we just approved. Any additional comment on any of that? Okay, not seeing any. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll second.
Thank you, Donna. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.